Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
What follows is a terrifying journey into the world of probate, beneficiaries, and goblins.
Mr. Wells?
Fine, no goblins.
Run to the hills. Run for your lives. Run to the hills.
So for today's One That Got Away, being that it is October and everything is being Halloween themed, nothing screams Halloween than 3 movies that you are just terrified of because of how horrible they are. I actually did a triple feature. Now, I couldn't have watched these movies at a better time. 2 of them I watched over the summer. It was because I had an eye doctor appointment and my pupils had been dilated, so I was able to see things from a far distance but nothing close, so basically I had to just stay home and do nothing for a few hours, so I said, hey, let me go watch some really bad movies. And the third one I watched a couple of months later, but either way, these were 3 movies that a lot of people talked about, some that were very anticipated and some that were very much not so anticipated, but I said to myself it just wouldn't be the Lawn Gnome if I didn't see these movies. So let's talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I am a huge fan of this franchise. Loved the cartoon when I was growing up. If you haven't watched my Gnome Doc this year, I went through the entire history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, from their comic book conception all the way to the making of this movie. When I first heard that Michael Bay was planning on revitalizing this franchise, I was angry. So angry! I didn't want to see it, and I didn't in theaters. But for some strange reason, this movie made a crap ton of money, so I needed to see what all the fuss was about. This movie made me want to kill Michael Bay. The Transformers franchise has done enough damage to me, but this movie made me furious. They changed everything that I love about Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo. The special effects were wonderful, and I really loved the way that the characters looked, especially with the fact that they used motion capture. I had no issues with the voice cast, which included people like Johnny Knoxville and Tony Shalhoub. But this movie took my childhood, threw up on it, then took a dump on it, and then jerked off all over it. That's how bad this movie was. The origin story was changed, the inception of the Shredder was completely changed, and nothing about this movie, except for the fact that these characters had the same names and loved pizza, it was not my Ninja Turtles. I love the original live-action film. Heck, I even love the CGI film that came out in 2007. But guys, I have no idea how this movie made the money that it did. This movie is terrible, this movie should never have been made, and I am very upset over the fact that there is a sequel being made. Granted, they are finally bringing Bebop and Rocksteady to the big screen because of the fact that they have the technology to do so, and yes, Stephen Amell from Arrow will be playing Casey Jones, but this movie should never have been made in the first place. It's horrible. Don't see it. I'm giving this movie 1 out of 4. The next movie that I want to talk about is Transformers: Age of Extinction. Wait, do I really want to talk about it? You think that I had a bad time watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I had an even worse time watching this movie. Should I even be reviewing this movie? Because I didn't even finish the movie. That's how bad it was to me. They had something wonderful in 2007. Michael Bay had the potential to turn my childhood favorite into one of the coolest movie franchises ever, and I thought that they were going in the right direction with the first one. But, as much as I love the opening sequence to Revenge of the Fallen, that, and Dark of the Moon, and now this one, I'm wondering why they've even greenlit a 5th, with Michael Bay attached to it. Why couldn't they even put Cliffjumper in any of these movies? Casey Kasem was still alive during the first 3. You could have fit him in there. And I felt so bad that Leonard Nimoy was one of the voices of the characters in the 3rd film. I mean, Mr. Spock, that was your last performance in film. Not cool. The only reason why I wanted to see this movie was because I just wanted to see where the Dinobots were going to fit into this movie, and if a movie without Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox would have actually been good, replacing them with people like J.T. Miller and Mark Wahlberg. It didn't help at all. And I feel so bad for the great Peter Cullen, who has been voicing Optimus Prime ever since Transformers has been created. I mean, he's making his money, but this guy is gonna be leaving us very soon. This is a really bad way to go, especially when you are voicing a character that defined a generation and that you just loved to voice. But yeah, I tried to watch this movie. I was bored to tears. I don't remember what it was about. I don't remember what the dialogue was. All I knew is that it was horrible, and I stopped watching it halfway in. Actually, correct that. I kind of fast-forwarded it just till the part where the Dinobots actually showed up, and they just showed up. That's it. This movie is even worse than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, guys. Do not go and see this movie either, and I guarantee you I will not be going to see the fifth one, nor will I even be watching it when it comes on demand. I'm gonna have to be really stupid drunk to actually turn on the TV and watch this fifth Transformers movie, if and when it actually reaches on demand or Netflix. So I am giving Transformers Age of Extinction 0 stars out of 4. Now let's talk about the third film, Horrible Bosses 2. Just want to let everybody know that this is actually the best of these 3 movies that I am reviewing today. But it was a sequel that really didn't have to be made. Horrible Bosses came out in 2011, and this movie I had no idea was coming out until I saw the trailers in theaters, and this movie took us all by surprise. It had a fantastic cast, it had a couple of actors and actresses doing things that you never would have seen them do before in films like Kevin Spacey, Colin Farrell, and Jennifer Aniston. The chemistry between Jason Sudeikis, Charlie Day, and Jason Bateman is wonderful in the first movie. It's a good movie! I mean, for crying out loud, here it is. See? I have the first Horrible Bosses, and I'm very proud to be an owner of this movie in my collection. But Horrible Bosses 2, when it first came out, I was like, why are they making this? Okay, granted, it's got Chris Pine and Christoph Waltz. I like those guys. They got the entire cast back, except for certain people, because if you've seen the first one, you know why. This movie gave me a couple of cheap laughs, but it really wasn't anything special. I thought that Chris Pine was actually very funny because he's a very diverse actor. He's done so many different roles ever since he came onto the scene, and he hasn't really been on the scene for that long, so he did actually put on a hilarious performance, and I really did enjoy it. And some of the running gags that they did have in this movie were also really funny. And once again, the chemistry between the 3 main characters, Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, and Charlie Day, is great. It really is. But the movie itself is really nothing special, and after you watch that movie, you just say to yourself, why did they make this movie? You know, like, why? Do they want to make a Horrible Bosses 3? Gee, I hope not, because 1 was all we needed. But I will say that it was entertaining. I had fun with it. But am I going to own it? No. Am I going to want to watch it again? No. But am I glad that I actually saw it? Yeah, because now I got all the hype out of the way. So I'm going to give Horrible Bosses an admirable 2 out of 4. So thank you very much for watching my special Halloween edition of The One That Got Away, a triple feature, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next One That Got Away, and I am very much sincere about that because it is going to be a movie that some of you have requested that I see, so guys, I'm finally going to watch it, but what is it? You'll see in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.
And remember, there is no fish stick like Mrs. Pell's.
This isn't a commercial.
I know, that was just a declaration of love. Yes. Oh, yes. They're even better raw.